It's something called the Mashara Yashra'Allah, in other words, the government of Israel. And then they show you in the video all which they hope to be part of that government of Israel. Great Millstone wasn't among those groups. Great Millstone wasn't mentioned.
Yep.
They mentioned AOC.
And I'm happy that I wasn't a part of that. I don't want to be a part of these circle, man.
That's right. They even mentioned Sakari. Now, who Sakari learned under? Didn't Sakari learn under Great Millstone? Yep. But they mentioned Sakari, they didn't mention us. So what does that tell you, brothers? That we're hated, but we're supposed to be hated. Yep. That's scripture.
Amos 5 and 10.
There you go.
It says, we both hunger and thirst and are naked and are buffeted and have no certain dwelling place.
Have no certain dwelling.
You know what that means? The majority of us are renters, right?
Rent.
You don't pay, you miss your goddamn rent. They're gonna do what's called eviction proceedings, man. Okay. And you gotta scramble and get that money up, man. Okay. Or you out there, man. Oh, we got a certain amount of brothers, the big house I'm talking about.
Yep.
They last week. Yep. they've been trying to get these guys out for years. Yep. And they finally had the sheriff come in and just but they knew it was coming. So there's that no certain dwelling place.
And they came 6 in the morning too. 6 in the morning when you're sleeping.
They know what niggas sleep, man.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with when all hell break loose, because you know the government, they got the list with certain names on there who they deem as enemies of the state. So when all hell breaks loose, they're gonna go down that list. Okay, get him. And normally they like to come like 3, 4 in the morning when they know when they know you're fast asleep.
When your guard is down. You know?
Right.
That's how this devil operates.
That's how he operates.
You know?
All of a sudden the door gets kicked down and they're dragging you out of. That's why, you know, if possible, you try to sleep with your clothes on, man, or at least some clothes on. Yeah. Because you never know, man. The door kicked down, they grab you up, you know, drag you out. They showed you that in the movie Handmaid's Tale, the first hour of the movie. Yeah. They were grabbing up Jake. They had that one Jake. He was going like this because he only had like a tank top on, right? And he was going like this.
Jake ain't ready for it, man. Jake is walking. They're going to the whatever concert. They're doing what the hell they doing, man. You know.
And then you have that series Colony. How many of you brothers know about the series Colony?
Oh, yeah.
On USA?
On USA, yeah.
Yeah, USA Colony, which alludes to what? The martial law, the concentration camps.
Revelation 2:10.
Lockdown.
So we got to tell you brothers about that, man. We got to prepare you. You know, the fact that, look, if you look around, I'm sure they got certain, like probably in that building, they got a certain room where they got all kind of FBI equipment, and they be zooming in, like they show in Donnie Brasco, when Donnie Brasco be walking, they take the, man, come on, you got to think like that,
But
man.
then the thing is this, we are out in the open. It's not like we're sneaking around. All they got to do is go to YouTube videos, and they got all the footage they want, you know?
But the devil operates like that, because he's the devil. Go ahead.
Revelation chapter 2 verse 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer.
Yeah, what was that? Last week we had that one brother out here. He said that they had the names of us in the police station. I don't know if you all.
Well, I heard about that back in 1 West. You know?
There you go. So what does that tell you? When the deal goes down, when they're going to find out who's a traitor to the so-called state, they're going to want to round up those names. Get this guy, get this guy, get this guy.
Because this is like a crime that we're committing. Really, it's not a crime. We're not committing any crime because we're exercising our First Amendment right and we're reading out of the Bible.
That's right.
But they really hate the Most High. They hate the Most High and they hate the men of the Most High.
That's it.
You know?
That's right. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer.
Which thou shalt suffer. Now, that's the last book of the Bible, Revelation, right? Which was given to us by the Apostle John on the island of Patmos, right? So what time period is that talking about? Obviously, it's not talking about when he was on the island of Patmos. It's talking about now, brothers. When you read about the beheading, that didn't happen on the island of Patmos. When he was talking about that, he wasn't talking about that period. He was talking about now, the beheading and all that.
And then it said of John, when he was on the island of Patmos, before he died, he said, look, you're gonna prophesy again before many kings, peoples, and nations, man, and tongues. Right. So what is that? Reincarnation. Because there's no record of him coming off the island and going out there prophesying, because he was almost 100 years old. So he had to die on the owl.
Yeah.
So that's reincarnation right there.
Good.
Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer.
Which thou shalt suffer. Go on.
Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison.
That's the white man. That's the elite of Esau.
Yeah. When they come and grab you up and they put you in that those camps, wherever they may send you or send us. All right. Go ahead.
That ye may be tried.
That ye may be tested.
Tested.
Because our faith got to be, Yahushua was tested to the very end, you know, and he passed the test. That's why he received his reward. So we're going to be tested to the very end.
When you get a chance, I go from there to Revelation 3:12. 3 and 12. All right, shalom, Mark.
Shalom.
And ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life.
See that? Be thou faithful unto death. And it means just that. If it comes down to death, we are to be faithful. If it comes down to it. Because we understand there's really no such thing as death. Right? You just go into the spirit world. That's all.
From one spiritual plane to the next.
That's all.
All right? When you die, this spirit that's in you go up into the next, the third heaven.
That's right.
All right? Which Paul already went there. Give me that right quick, Doc.
That's right.
That's 2 Corinthians 12.
And it's described as being paradise. Because Yahushua told that to the dude that was on his right hand, because you had two guys crucified along with Yahushua. You had one on the left and one on the right. The one on the right, Yahushua told him, today you will be with me in paradise.
Hey, Yahushua was a tough man. Because they had them railroad spikes in his arm and he was still holding the conversation.
Yeah.
He was a tough. And the way you died on the cross, when they crucified you,
Slowly.
basically you hung up like this, or you using your muscles to hold you up.
Right.
And eventually, after a while, you might be strong enough. Some guys die in an hour. They're weak. But you hold yourself up, and eventually you're going to get weak. And that weight is just going to take the life out of you, man. And that's what Yahushua had to do, man. He cried unto the Father. He basically he basically kind of lost it, man. Because he said to the Father, he said, my power, why hast thou forsaken me? Now he already knew he was going to be forsaken. He actually felt the presence of the Most High turn his back against him. Because he was turning his back against Israel. He said, look, he was saying Israel, but he took on the sins of Israel. And himself when he was Solomon. Okay?
Yeah.
So he felt the presence of the Most High. At that moment, he didn't have no spiritual power. Okay?
Yeah, well, that's,
Hey, the scriptures say the Most High's eyes are purer than to behold iniquity. So the reason why you did the sacrifices was because the sins of you went on the sacrifice that you did. So all those sins went on Yahushua when he was up there. So the Most High turned his face and he felt that presence leaving him. You know? Because the Most High can't look on the iniquity.
And he yelled out. He actually said, Allah Yah, Allah Yah. But he spoke in Aramaic. Okay, because back then they spoke a broken, there was different dialects of Hebrew back then. You had the classic Hebrew, and then you had like the lesser form of Hebrew. You had people that spoke the Galilean Hebrew. It was all Hebrew, but it was, you know, like if you got a dude from down south, he come up here, he's speaking English, but you know he's from down south. Right. The way he talked, okay? So he said, Allah Yah, Allah Yah. And the people that was down there, they said he calls on Elijah, which is Elijah is Allah Yah. But he was saying my power, oh my God, so you can understand. All right?
Yeah, I read that somewhere. The disciples, they spoke the poor man's Hebrew. They weren't.
There's a scripture on it. I forget where it is.
It's an Acts, I think. Right?
But there's another one. I think it's in Matthew. I got to find the wording where they spoke like a poor, like if you spoke that like in England, right?
Right.
You can you have a higher class of English. You got the West Enders, right?
Yeah, the West Enders.
They speak that Cockney.
I say, it's
Right.
Scottish.
That's the upper class.
Yeah.
So you can tell a class of a person in England by the way he spoke, man.
Yeah, the Cockneys, they like you know about the Cockney, you know, the Cockney was considered a low accent, a poor man's accent in England. The upper class, they were, I say, lovely weather we're having. You know, the King's English. Yeah.
Cockney wasn't the King's English, man.
Yeah,
So the same thing with Hebrew, all right?
That's right.
2 Corinthians 12 and 1. It is not expedient for me, doubtless to glory.
This is Paul speaking.
I will come to visions and revelations of the Lord. I knew a man in Yahushua about 14 years ago.
He was talking about himself. When he said, I knew a man, he was talking about himself. 14 years ago, he got stoned. That's when he first came into the truth. So he's reflecting back when he came into the truth. Because the people stoned him to death. They threw stones on him, they buried him in stones, and he actually died. The Apostle Paul actually died. His spirit went up into the spirit realm, and the Most High put his spirit right back in his body, and he got up. And go ahead.
I knew a man in Yahushua about 14 years ago. Whether in the body, I cannot tell.
Astral projection, that's what that's called.
Or whether out of the body, I cannot tell. The Most High knoweth. Such an one caught up to the third heaven. And I knew such
What does it mean by the third heaven? This is the first heaven, where we live, okay? The second heaven is space itself. The third heaven is the fourth dimension, which is not a place that you go up, but it's the spirit. It's all around us. That's invisible. Go ahead.
I knew such a man, whether in the body or out of the body, I cannot tell, the Most High knoweth. And that he was caught up into paradise. Slaki. How that he was caught up.
What did the Lord Yahushua tell the man on the cross? Today you will be with me in paradise. So where did he go? He went into the spiritual realm.
That's right.
He went into the third heaven. Like that dude, Ariad's nephew, was asking them blockheads up there, them Israelite blockheads in Harlem. He said, where did Enoch go? And there was about 50 of them guys. And them guys are looking up. You answer. No, you go ahead and sit. You want to speak?
Brother, what's your point?
Man, I would have said, look, man. All the big, Sheriff Puster came up. What's your point, brother? What's your point, brother? Then they said, let's go up the street. We're going to. I would have said, look, man. What happened was Enoch was translated, man. I'm going to give you an example. When you watch the Star Wars, remember when they would say, beam me up, Scotty? Translated, man. They broke down the elements of your body. All right, your spirit was shot to another place, and then the different amount of elements, the same DNA that makes you, brought back together, and that would disappear. The reason why Esau was able to do that, because they know that science, but they can't do it. See, Esau cannot take a spirit out of a body and put the spirit over here. Or Esau cannot say if a man died, you got the coordinates of his spirit to bring his spirit back. The Most High can do that, man. We're going to be able to do that. That's what Esau wants. He ain't going to be able to do that, man.
Hey, Philip, that's what happened to Philip. When he was talking
he was beamed up Scotty.
Yep.
He was beamed up
That's
Scotty.
the same conception as a dream, right? It takes your spirit out while you sleep, and it goes to different diversity.
Well, you can dream and your spirit can be in your body. That's astral projection. Yeah, because I experienced that, man.
Remember in the movie The Fly, like when they was trying to teleport from one pod to a different pod, but it was
they know about that science, man.
Yeah.
But they can't do it.
Yeah.
See this you got your smartphone, right? Where's the smartphone in the Bible? Is the smartphone in the Bible? It is in the Bible. It's the Urim and the Thummim. When you get a chance, look up the word, Google the word Urim and Thummim. Well, if you go into the Old Testament during the time of the priests, all right, all you got to do is, because I'm not going to go, take but I'm saying when you go home, go to Google, put Urim and Thummim, and it'll give you all the scriptures.
All right.
Urim and Thummim is Waryum Wa Thummim. Waryum means light, and Thummim means Wa means and Thummim means perfection. That's the Urim and the Thummim. Light and perfection.
Oh, that's
Urim and Thummim, all right?
That's
This is the Urim and the Thummim. That's a light, right? Everything's perfect, right? When you go on the web, when you go on